My brother, what is up? So, I want to make this very raw talk in terms of my entire journey, in terms of losing the weight that I had on myself, and just in terms of how I got my fitness journey started. Because I've shared bits and pieces of this, but what I really want to do for you is put this in one place so you understand how I got here and why I even care about this in the first place. Because it's very easy for someone to look at this kind of video and be like, oh, he's going to give the tactical A, B, C steps, the calories, the macros, the steps, the workouts. And that's all there. I mean, I'll make a separate video on that if you guys really want it. If you want it, I'll make a separate video, and I intend to do that anyway. But my intention with this video in specifically is to talk about how we even got here. What was the mindset? What was the turning point for all of this? And I won't drag out this on too long. I'll try to keep it, pretty brief. Just give you like the high level overview in terms of how everything went. So obviously, the main thing I've achieved so far is really just honing my body and losing a lot of weight, a lot of fat, putting on a good amount of muscle, getting decently strong. I mean, these are all things that a lot of men want, regardless what their starting point is. Whether you're like decently built, you've had some kind of athletic career, or experience in the past in school or whatever, or if you're someone who's just never done this before and you're just like, I wonder what it feels like to actually get in shape for once. I think everyone, no matter where you are, you will be able to appreciate what this all means, and take away something from my story. So, I mean, there's really two arcs to this, if you want to think about it. The first arc was the first entry into fitness in the very beginning. So, I've shared this multiple times. I was on a trip to New York in 2019, from Boston with some of my good friends, and had a really good time. Spent a lot of good time in New York. Had a lot of good food. Got food poisoning from one of the halal carts. I mean, it's just part of the experience. If you don't get sick, I mean, you didn't experience New York the way you're supposed to, right? And there was this one point where we were overlooking the Manhattan skyline, and we were taking pictures there. And it was like evening. It wasn't like too dark, but it was like it was right after Maghrib or so. We were just taking pictures, kind of hanging out. Asked one of my friends to take pictures of me, and I didn't think anything of it because I didn't really have the chance to look at them. I was just like, oh, let's just move on to the next thing. But as we were driving back to Boston, I took a look at those pictures from my phone, and for lack of better words, I was just disgusted by what I saw. Not because I hated myself; it wasn't out of self-loathing, but there was a certain level of like, how did I let myself get this bad? Like, what happened? So, I'll try and put like a picture if I decide to edit this video of what I look like. Probably put it here somewhere if I decide to do that. But I mean, haircut was off. I had no facial hair at the time. Um, I was wearing this weird, polo blue, light blue polo. Just I don't know why. Belly sticking out, arms non-existent. It was just the worst picture of me that I've ever seen of myself. And I know I don't look like that on a regular basis. Even during that time, like I knew I wasn't like that. But that was just a snapshot into what things would continue to look like if I just if I did get my fitness in order. Because it wasn't about looking that way. It was just about why don't I look better? Why don't I look strong? Why don't I look confident? Why don't I look masculine? Why don't I look like I have some amount of muscle mass on me? Why do I look like this? It was just this like overwhelming sense of this is unacceptable. I can't continue to do this. So as soon as I got back home, I started hitting the gym hard. And I started on the Strong Lifts 5x5 program, not because it was the best program out there. I mean, it's far from it. Like, at this point, now after having gone through multiple different programs and having understood what effective training really looks like, it's a very good program. I'll give it a credit because it helped me. It does have its fatal flaws in terms of it's just, at some point it starts to break down, and if you want to prioritize hypertrophy, then they have to kind of modify it, and it doesn't even stay true to its own 5x5 kind of methodology. But that's besides the point. I got in, started hitting the gym hard, and within just 3-4 months, I was lifting more weight than I'd ever lifted in my entire life. The muscle gains were coming, but it was really just about the strength. I was just like, I can't believe this. Like, I'm strong for once, and it was starting to show in my, my clothes filling out, arms getting bigger, having more confidence, sharing this with friends and family. Like, oh, I've been doing this. I'm so excited, and it was just like a beautiful time. And, what happened after that? 2020. You all know what happened in 2020. Gym shut down. No one's really taking their fitness seriously if it didn't really have something going on. So I was lucky to have like some kind of like a home gym set up. So I was, hitting the workouts that I could at home. It was fine. It wasn't anything crazy, but I definitely did miss that feeling of hitting the gym hard and just like going and seeing the weight go up on the bar every single time I went in there. So for a good year and a half, I would say almost 2 years, I had not seen the inside of a gym. And when I did decide to I decided to finally go back. It was when the gyms actually opened up again. Back in 2022, there was a summer of 2022 when I actually got back in. I was like, okay, I need to just get back to like lifting hard. And at this point, I'd moved away from the 5x5 program. I was kind of doing something just, to kind of help me, get back in shape. But it was at this point that I was like, really overweight. When I started my fitness journey, I was hovering around 170 or so. Wasn't anything super crazy. Like a healthy BMI, I guess you could call it. But by the time summer of 2022 rolled around, I was like 212 pounds. It was not muscle. I'll tell you that much. It was not muscle, bro. It was fat. A lot of it. I was like at least 30% body fat, which is not okay. Anyone who tells you that, just like being a little chubby, having a little belly fat is okay, no. They don't want to see you grow. Subconsciously, they're just like, oh, if he gets in shape, then that means I have to get in shape too, because if he can do it, I can do it. They don't mean that maliciously, but that's just how it is. So, yeah, it was bad. And at that time, like, I decided to hire a coach because I was like, this is bad. Like, I cannot do this on my own. I do not know how to lose weight. I know how to gain it very easily. Just don't move and eat a lot of food and continue lifting because you think lifting is somehow an excuse for like eating whatever you want. So I decided to hire a coach, and he helped me, drop my first, couple of pounds, and really give me the framework in terms of how to understand this game of weight loss. But the real transformation really happened in October of 2022. And the reason I remember that time is because I was just so down on myself because a lot of things in my life were just not the way I wanted them to be. My physique was obviously off. My career was not where I wanted to be. I was in this in-between space of like, do I go back to school or do I continue to work? Do I, create a business? Like, I didn't know what to do at that point. I was just like in this weird kind of like in-between place. And, just to kind of be real with you guys, like, I was like, why am I not married yet? What's wrong with me? Like, I see my friends getting married, and this is, I pray for them, man. Like, it was just not out of like, jealousy or anything like that. It was just like, what's wrong with me? Why can't I get married? And maybe in a twisted way, I don't know. I was just like, well, they're not focusing on their fitness. Why are they getting in shape? Why are they getting married? It was so messed up, man. Like, my mindset was just like all over the place. It was so bad. But then at a certain point, I saw a picture of like some of my friends hanging out, having a really good time in the Northeast, somewhere in the mountains. I don't remember where, but it was just like, I don't know why that triggered is the wrong word, but it kind of forced me to reflect. It was just like, where did I go wrong? Where did I mess up? Why is my life like this? Why am I leagues behind other people who supposedly started where I started? Why am I so behind? What's wrong with me? And that was a catalyst. That was a turning point. And I was like, I cannot continue to do this. I need to just dramatically change something because what I'm doing is not working. I cannot continue to do things I'm doing because they're clearly not giving the results I want. I was furious at myself that, 4 or 5 years after college, I was still in this, weird place of like not having anything to show for it. Like tangibly nothing to show for my life. No wonder I was not married. No, I mean, who would want to, come into that kind of space? No wonder I did not have the career I wanted because I had not pushed for anything. No wonder my physique looked like crap because I had not really pushed myself, besides the first couple of months back in 2019. So I decided that something had to give. And I've been hearing stuff about the 75 hard program. And at first I was like, oh, this sounds, I don't know what this is. It sounds kind of intense. Like, I don't know what to kind of make of it. But then I was like, let me look into this. Let me just actually see what this is all about. So, I looked at it. I, listened to the podcast about it. I was like, okay, this sounds simple, but based on the results it's given other people who are actually taking it seriously, it seems like to really have instilled this sense of discipline and a new identity in people. And, I was hearing stories of like, pregnant women having done the program completely, quadriplegic people who can't even move their limbs, all of them, like they've done it somehow. FedEx drivers who drive around for like 12 plus hours, they have done it. I'm like, okay, what excuse do I have? So I was like, okay, Bismillah, let me get started. So October 31st, 2022 was day one of 75 hard. And I just started. And it would be too much to go through all of what I was experiencing during the program because there was so many moments of clarity, so many moments of like, okay, this is what I'm all about. This is who I am. I might even make a separate video on that if you guys really, really want to hear my full story. I'd have to really go back and kind of note and journal what that was all about. But if you want that, I'm more than happy to share that. But just to kind of give you some perspective on it, one of the things that you have to do in part of the program is one workout out of two outdoors, and it has to be 45 minutes, and those two workouts cannot be within 3 hours of each other, so you can't just do one and then hop into the next one. And what I decided to do for my outdoor workout was just walking, because I was so overweight that just getting into running or jogging would have been way too much on my joints, would have been too much on my cardiovascular. So I was like, okay, let me just not get into that, let me just walk. And so I just started walking, and it was a beautiful experience. I mean, fall in the Northeast in Boston, very beautiful time, absolutely beautiful. The leaves are changing, beautiful sunsets, just overall just a beautiful time. So I started walking, started getting my steps in. First week or so, my ankles were just hurting bad, so bad. I was like, am I wearing the wrong shoes? Like, what's going on? Like, should I just stop? Because it got to a point, I'll tell you how bad it was. It got to a point where I had to pray sitting. I almost never do that unless I'm just so sick that I cannot physically stand up. If I have like a bad cough or bad fever or something, like then I'll maybe do it. But for at least 2 or 3 days, I was praying sitting. It was hurting that bad. I never do that. So it was just I was just like, this is terrible. The pain of like not having taken care of my health was just literally hurting me. It was physically hurting me. But I pushed through because I was like, okay, maybe this will go away. If it does not go away in a couple of more days, I'll see a doctor or something. So yeah, just kept doing that. And those walks, more than anything else, they showed me a lot of who I was. Because there were days where, because I was either lazy or because I had something going on, that the only time I could walk was, 7, 8, 9 p.m. in the evening. And for anyone who doesn't know, like sunset in the Northeast happens very quickly. In the winter, it's like by 4:30, 4:45, it's already dark. So, I mean, this was like way into the evening. I mean, not even evening. It was into the night. It was like, okay, I have to do this My family's telling me no, don't do it because it's dark, it's cold, it's this and that. I'm like, it'll be 45 minutes, and the route I had mapped out for myself was 45 minutes to the second, not a second more, not a second less. It was like 45 minutes to the second. As soon as that 45-minute mark hit, I was turned the keys into the house. So I was like 45 minutes. That's all you need to give me, and then I'll be home, and you can be rest assured that I'm good. And those walks, they gave me so much moment of reflection and clarity. I was just like, I was listening to a lot of stuff, a lot of podcasts, a lot of books, a lot of YouTube videos, and it's so surreal right now. I was listening to a lot of the Column lectures, podcasts, whatever you want to call it, and at this very moment, I'm sitting in the parking lot of Column. It's so surreal, because one of the duas I made, I'll share this, guys, because I don't mind sharing this because it's already happened. One of the duas I was making at that time was like, I wish I was in a place like Column, like just live around there somewhere, just so I could be there and like attend lectures and stuff. And as I'm recording this video right now, like, alhamdulillah, Allah answered my dua. Like, I'm in the parking lot of Column recording this. So it's so surreal in terms of how life has just like panned out the way it has. But coming back to the point, I had so many moments of reflection, of clarity, of just like letting out a lot of the feelings I've been kind of holding in. And, in terms of the tangible result, I lost a good 15 pounds, 15, 16, 17 pounds just in those first 75 days. And then, at the end of that, I was just like, I felt unstoppable. I was like, I have to keep going with this. So there was another, 75-part program. It has 3 more phases. So I decided the first one like 2 weeks after 75, so for 75 days. Started that, lost another, I don't even know how much because I wasn't really tracking my weight. Maybe another 10 pounds. So a total of like 25 pounds in the span of like almost 3 months, which is not crazy, but I never gained the weight back. So clearly, the habits and the discipline, what I was doing it clearly stuck. So like the weight was gone and I haven't gained that weight back. So, now this is 2023 and, I'm on fire in terms of like, I want to share this with as many people as I can because this has absolutely changed my life. So what I did in terms of like my business was I incorporated the principles of 75 Hard into my coaching. And I told all my clients like, hey, you have to walk, you have to watch your diet, you have to train hard, you have to do the things that I was doing, and they started seeing results like I did. So I was like, okay, clearly there's something here because my story, the way I've been able to, kind of get to this point myself, it's clearly working, not just for myself, but for other people as well. So I was like, okay, I just need to keep going with this. And I hired a coach who helped me kind of, get me started in terms of my coaching, and, he took me a long way. And then, now we're getting into 2024, so last year. I guess you could say there was a bit of a lull because, I don't know, I kind of lost touch with who I was. And I was almost in that, in between zone again, where, yes, my business was doing okay in terms of like my first year or so. But it wasn't anything dramatic. I hadn't made $1 million or anything like that. I hadn't completely transformed my life. But it wasn't as bad as, me being broke and not knowing what to do. I knew that, in terms of like a job, I couldn't do a job forever. Like if I had to, just to pay bills, this and that, I'll do it. If I want to kind of still be in the clinical research, I'll do it just because, I want to. So I was looking for a job. I was planning to move to Dallas at that point from Boston. So I was like, okay, let me find something and, make that work. But I always knew deep down that, me being a coach, being a teacher, a mentor, that was what I always wanted to do. So I've always, kept that in mind as my main mission. So yeah, it was this weird in between zone again where like change happened again. Moving to a new place, it's not easy. Leaving everything that you've known for like 10 plus years, it's not easy. But there was a lot of, I'm not sharing everything that happened, but there was a lot of like difficult moments that happened between 2020, 2024, there was a lot of difficult moments, and a lot of it was just like me being very guarded in terms of like how I was showing up for my family, for my friends, for people in general. I was just like, I don't know how to handle a lot of things. The best thing I can do is just guard myself, just put on armor and just like hope nothing scratches me. And for a while it worked, because not having difficult conversations, not exposing myself, not in the sense of like, doing anything crazy, but just like not putting myself out there unnecessarily, not doing things that, would normally be as like, okay, he's being real, he's being genuine, but just kind of just closing off, going into a shell almost. It just kind of naturally happened. Not because I wanted it, but because like it was the only way I knew how to survive. Emotionally survive certain things in my life. And, we moved with my family, alhamdulillah. Started working, got back in touch with like, actually doing coaching properly. Hired another coach who's really been helping me a lot. And, and when 2025 started, I was like, this is the year. This is the year where everything changes, because I've gone through enough pain, enough uncomfortable situations, enough BS to the point where, if it doesn't work now, it's because I don't want it. If it doesn't work now, it's because I don't care about the results. If it doesn't work now, it's because I'm not meant for it, because I refuse to actually do what I need to do. So I was like, okay, this is the year, inshallah, that I'm going to make everything happen. January, isn't crazy, but there's a lot of things I've been working on. February, pretty much the same vibe. And then, March 1st is when Ramadan starts. And now we're in the month of Ramadan right now. At the time of me recording this video, and hopefully when you watch this is the 28th day of Ramadan. Absolutely insane how fast this month has gone. And, I know this is supposed to be like how I lost weight, but it's like so much more than that. Because what you have to understand is that, what I've come to realize this Ramadan is that, so Allah sometimes puts you in situations. He takes you through difficult moments, not because He hates. I don't even want to say that, but not because He's out to get you. He created us. He loves us. That's not why this happens. It's because He knows that if He gives you something when you're least prepared for it, that you will just hurt yourself, or you will spoil the blessing because you won't know what to do with it. Or you'll be fine for a little bit, you'll be temporarily happy, but then you'll just like regress, and you won't permanently move up in life in terms of like your spiritual maturity, or just your maturity in general. So He doesn't give you certain things because He knows you can do better before you get it. And He wants to give you more than what you actually asked for. So there's like multiple layers to this. And coming to, my whole fitness journey. At this point, it's not even a fitness journey anymore. It's not, I'm like, trying to help people lose weight. That's obviously the tangible results a lot of people want. And that's what I'm going to be giving to a lot of people, because that's what actually got me moving in this new direction. But it's much more than that. It's like, how can I, by the permission of Allah, how can I change lives? How can I help Muslims, specifically Muslim men, realize their potential, how much they're actually holding on to, what goal they're sitting on? Because if you think about it, like, we have the principles down pat. We have discipline with prayer. We have discipline with fasting. We have consistency with prayer. We have so many things that if we just realized what we're sitting on, every Muslim man should be in shape. Not like, bodybuilding, like not like a bodybuilder. That's like unnatural. But just healthy, just like in shape, just decent muscle mass, be able to move around, not feel self-conscious during prayer, not be like, brain dead while fasting, and not able to lead your prayer in Tarawih at home. Wheezing when you're just walking around with your family, with your kids, not being able to play with your kids. I mean, these are like very real challenges. Not being able to spend time with your wife the way you want to. So many layers to this. So many layers to this. And it all comes back to your health. You can't pray this away. You can't tahajjud your way out of this. I say that cautiously because, Allah works in all ways. Like, if He wants to give you strength, He'll give you strength no matter what. But the laws of the universe, they are the laws for a reason because they create predictability in our lives. But point of still means you can't pray your way out of this. You have to put in the work. You have to get in shape. You have to lose the weight. You have to get your BMI to a decent number. If it's like 40, get it down to 30. If it's like 30, get it down to 25. If it's 25, get it down to 21. Like, just do whatever you need to do for your BMI. Body fat percentage, get that down to at least 15%. That's not difficult. Right now I'm sitting at 13 something. It's not amazing, just because like I know how much more I can push myself, and because I haven't really been training as hard or as much during Ramadan, which is fine. Like I'm okay with that. But 15% is the bare minimum. You can reach that very quickly. 6 months of intense effort, 15%, and then you can maintain that. But there's no real maintenance when it comes to this. Once you realize how much you can actually achieve, you just keep going. Decent amount of strength. You can, push good numbers at the gym. You feel strong, you feel confident, good muscle mass, strong arms, broad shoulders, all that kind of stuff. It's so simple. It's so achievable. It's so achievable, bro. It is so achievable. You would not believe how easy this actually is. People try to convince you that, it's so hard, it's like so difficult, you have to, track every single calorie, you have to be in the gym 6 times per week, you have to like cut out socializing, you can't eat out anymore, you have to skip prayers because you have to hit the gym, if you go to the masjid to pray, you'll only have 30 minutes to work out, you can't really read Quran anymore because you have to meal prep. There's so many layers to this, that unique challenges that Muslims face. And what I want to do with my story, hopefully everything I've shared up to this point, but what I'm going to be sharing even after, is show you that this is not how it's supposed to be. You can absolutely be the faith and fitness focused Muslim. That should be the default. Not because I'm saying it, but because that's the example we have. We have the example of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who is the epitome of strength, the epitome of masculinity, the epitome of physical endurance, the epitome of resilience, while also being the epitome of worship, the epitome of servitude, the epitome of just his awe of Allah. Those are not, being a faith and fitness focused Muslim. It's not an oxymoron. It's the example. It's the standard. It is the standard. Because he, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was that. He was the epitome of what it means to be a man. All, through and through. His perfection was because he combined strength, valor, endurance, bravery, courage, with gentleness, with a heart that was just overwhelmed with the love of Allah, with love, with gratitude, with beauty. Those things are perfection, and we need to tap into that. So it all goes back to the perfect model of what it means to be a man, and that's what I want to achieve for myself. I'm not saying I'll get there, far from it. Even if I just approximate even a fraction of it, like that's I will have done what I need to do. But you need to at least start on the journey, bro. You can't keep living this way. You can't keep making excuses. You can't keep eating out 5-6 times per week because it's like, oh, my friends, are eating. There's someone new in town. There's like, my family wants to go eat out. My wife wants to eat out. So like, I'm just gonna eat out 5-6 times per week, just because I have to, or because I'm so lazy to like actually cook something that I'll just order out every day of the week, and then also eat out on the weekends. I don't want to hit the gym because like, oh, it's a bodybuilding. No, it's not bodybuilding, bro. Don't say it in that weird Desi accent. No. It's strength. It's because that's the gym shows you so much more about life, so much more to you about life. And you actually get to push yourself in a way that men do not get to push themselves anymore. You can't fight legally For a lot of people, that's just, you can't legally fight. You can't do a lot of things. You can't hunt in the way that, our ancestors used to hunt. You can't go on a voyage to explore new lands because, you're just gonna get like arrested at like certain checkpoints or borders. You can't just be like, I'm an adventurer. Where's your visa? No, I don't have a visa. I'm discovering new lands. You can't do that. So the only real place that you have is the gym. And even there, you have to be careful. You can't, just like be there, like, oh, like ogling women, or just like, just trying to, put on this, fake persona of like, oh, I'm this like strong man when you're really not. Just go in there, humble yourself, humble your ego, put your ego out, leave it in the car, go in, lift the weight that you can, and push yourself. That's the only place that's really left. That and maybe like fighting gyms. So pick one or the other, pick both. It doesn't really matter. But get your health in order, bro. Get your fitness in order. Because it serves you, it serves your family, it helps you tap into prophetic masculinity, it helps you show gratitude to Allah for your body. There's so much to this. So don't just see like, oh, like, I don't need to lose 20 pounds, I'm fine the way I am. That's not okay. If that's your standard, I have bad news for you, bro. Because you're not going to stay there. It's going to get worse from there. Your health is going to suffer because you're not changing anything. If you think getting resources, getting help, getting a coach is too expensive, let me tell you, because I do work in clinical research in a heart hospital. I do research on cardiology. You do not want to be on the table in a cath lab with totally occluded arteries that surgeons have to literally drill into your arteries. I'm not making this up. It's called a ROTA, ROTA. They have to drill into your arteries to get rid of the calcification. Yes, are there, genetic reasons for that? Is there like congenital? Of course. But bro, you eating like a fatty does not help. Sorry to break it to you. I'm not trying to insult you. I'm just like, I'm trying to wake you up. Eating like a fatty, not training, not walking, is going to land you there one way or another. It might not be as bad as that. I hope it doesn't happen. I pray Allah saves us from like being in medical emergencies. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. That's how a lot of people are. They have to like put stents. Doctors make money off of that. They have to put, do electric shocks inside of your arteries to keep them open, put balloons, the drill. There's so much going on. And the BMI sometimes corresponds to the level of treatment people get. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you as it is. I have to screen for that for a lot of times. BMI is too high, they can't do anything for you. If it's high, they will have to do something for you, but if it's too high, they can't help you. So just take run with that. Do with that information what you will. So I hope that gave you some insight into my story. I know it's supposed to be like, how did I lose 40 pounds? What was the mindset? I hope I shared that. At this point, as of a couple of days ago, when I last weighed myself, it was like 43 pounds ish, 44 pounds that I've lost total. I know it's not a lot compared, people lose a lot of weight, but I've just done this sustainably and consistently and not trying to like just shock my system. So, there's so much I've been learning about myself when it comes to this. This is a long video. I did not think this would become that long, but I'm going to end it up very soon. I'll end it on this note. I'm only talking to one person here. If you run with this, if this changes your life in any way, then I will have done my job. If you start to walk, if you start to get your health in order, if you start to stop eating out 5 times per week, if you cut it down to once or twice on the weekend, if you start to train properly, if you start to tap into the prophetic model of what it means to be a man, then we'll be on our way. Inshallah, everything will be fine. You just have to start. And just like how when I started walking, my ankles were hurting and I had to pray sitting down. If there's any area of life that's physically hurting you, don't numb that. Don't run away from that. Don't pop a Tylenol and be like, oh, I'll be fine. Like, you know, it's not that bad. No, sit with the pain. Literally sit with it if you have to, like I did. Feel it for once. Don't run away from yourself. You've been doing that for so long. You've been running away from your emotions, your pain, how you look. You've been running away from it. You've been putting on oversized shirts. You've been laughing it off when people make fun of you, when they call you, oh, you're looking big, bro. Like, no. You know, don't laugh that away. Sit with that. You know, when you sit with whatever is going on. Don't run away from it. Because when you sit in there for too long, you realize that you have to change. You can't be okay with that. Because pain is something we all try to avoid. More than pain, more than pleasure, more than things that we actually accomplish, we run away from pain. So you might as well use that. You might as well use that to get you started on something. If you do need help, you know, you can apply for coaching. I'm taking on clients after Ramadan. So if that's something that you want to consider, if that's something you want to do, if you actually want to, you know, rely on my expertise, my accountability, and have an actual system to help you achieve the goals you want to be in shape before summer starts, you know, let me help you out, bro. But if you just want to see more of my stories, see more of what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis, my Instagram is going to be in the description. I would highly recommend you check that out, because that's where I share a lot of this. Like, I try to put out a video, you know, 2 times a week, but on my Instagram, I'm on there every single day, showing as much as I can about my diet, my training, everything else that's going on, because I want to showcase all this almost live that yes, I'm changing, and this is how you can do it too, inshallah. So I'll leave it right there. Hope you have an amazing rest of your Ramadan. If you're seeing this while in Ramadan, if it's after that, hope you have an amazing Eid Mubarak to you, bro. Inshallah, I'll catch you in the next video. Assalamu alaikum.